Ladies and gentlemen, the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast, Cheap Heat, is back. The penultimate Cheap Heat before WrestleMania. Could it be? Are we already here? Apparently so. I'm your forever 24/7 champion, Peter Rosenberg. Coming to you from Philadelphia is the physically strong Statguy, Greg. Hey, Greg.
It felt like we were not going to get here. The road to WrestleMania, they added a couple more exits, a little bit more mileage on this road to WrestleMania. But
well, you know what they say though, SGG.
We're getting there.
Every day is a winding road. You know what I mean?
You get a little bit closer.
And coming to us from Los Angeles, although I believe he'll be leaving any second to get to Vegas on time. It is 37 and 35 Dipperstein. Hey, Dip, how you doing?
Is there anyone like more underrated than Sheryl Crow? What a legend.
I you know what? Love Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
And never forget start of her career as a backup singer for Michael Jackson. One of the that's a major career. Actually, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Sheryl Crow. Right? Sheryl Crow looks amazing.
Okay? She still does?
Oh my God. She's gorgeous.
By the way, Sheryl Crow has, I will say this about Sheryl Crow, though. She looked like a hot older lady before she was a hot older lady. We look back, she was probably 31.
What?
At the time,
younger, probably. What are you talking about?
Yeah, probably young. No, I don't know, though, because she'd been around. She'd been around for a while. Like I said, the MJ thing was early on.
She's 63.
She's 63. So in the mid 90s when she got big, it was 30 years ago.
So
yeah, she was 30. She was 33. But she already gave 40 hot. She gave 40 hot at 33.
But hold on. When's All I Want to Do? Okay.
95.
It's 93.
Strong song, by the way.
Oh, very strong.
People are saying Santa Monica Boulevard. That's the only thing they remember. Santa Monica. I drive down it every day in traffic with psychotic lunatics running around all day. People know Santa Monica Boulevard only from that song.
I mean, I guess if you've never spent any time in Los Angeles in the surrounding areas, that would be your only. No, she had a great career, and I really do think I said this recently. Like, you can argue that All I Want to Do is like this like very cheesy whatever pop song. It feels so good it has every element that makes a song feel good. That is a great record.
Yes.
Then, not to mention, she has hold on, let me get this ready. Okay. She has my all-time favorite, if I were to ever do karaoke, my all-time favorite karaoke duet with Redacted.
Who's Redacted?
Here's a hint. He's the reason Bill Maher is going to the White House.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Picture Sheryl Crow and
you're redacting Kid Rock?
Oh, he is the most disgusting. He is as bad.
Dip with no respect for redactions, just says the name.
Yeah. By the way, zero respect for the redaction. By the way, me and Saif have had hilarious moments on One App talking about Diddy. Including there was at one point we played a song where he was ad-libbing through the entire song, and I just did this for like 55 seconds.
I was such a Kid Rock fan. Oh,
he is the worst of the worst, and I can explain why briefly.
You don't have to. I'm with you, brother.
But he made it to his glory on the back of black music. He was a DJ in Detroit. He was part of like the hip hop scene adjacent. Like he was, and by the way,
and his first single, Ball with the Ball, that was like at that point 20-year-old black stuff. Like you know, the early like freestyle MCs was doing
no.
In like 1981, 1979.
No, he's literally doing old school hip hop on his records. I saw him once at Jazz Fest. And his show was, I mean, now I hate saying it, but at the time I loved to like irritate people who are music snobs by being like, I got to tell you, Kid Rock does an awesome set. He played guitar. He got on the turntables. He rapped. He sung. I was like, this is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty impressed by this guy. To now have turned. And he also taught me one of my great socio-political theories of all time. If you want to see someone heading towards becoming a bigot, pay attention if they start getting overly critical of Beyonce. It is the appetizer to hating black people. I don't know about this Beyonce.
Wait, did Kid Rock didn't say that?
No, he dissed Beyonce. That's how it started, like 8 years ago. I don't like chicks who look like Beyonce. I was like, I don't like chicks.
First of all,
then you don't like chicks.
Horrible take. Yeah,
horrible take.
Exactly.
She's one of the most beautiful humans who's ever. By the way, and I've told this 1,000 times, and I'll say it very briefly. My one thing before I ever loved Beyonce as an artist, the first thing I ever thought was I was in an elevator and I went, "Oh my God, I have seen the most beautiful human being who's existed in the world." I didn't know her name. She was just a girl in Destiny's Child. You didn't know which one was which. This is Bills. They were just. I was like, she's the super hot.
You didn't know at Bills.
I didn't know at Bills. Who was who was Latavia and who was Kelly. It was a long time ago. Nobody knew.
I knew at Bills already.
Nah, there's no way.
By the way, that song, that must be a song that got so much play from your childhood.
Bar mitzvahs.
Oh yeah, Bills. Automobiles was ringing off.
98. That was 99, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my bar mitzvah was in 2000. So all my friends' bar mitzvahs were in 99, 2000. It was Bills. It was just fleekage, full fleekage.
Full fleekage.
Forgot about Dre.
My
name is.
Yeah, big.
Yeah, those were like the three. And what's your fantasy?
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, not my favorite Ludacris record.
It's so good.
No,
not a big what's your fantasy guy.
You're not a what's your fantasy guy?
I hate. Well, you have to understand. As a DJ, you think about music differently. And
I was a DJ at that time, by the way. For the record, I was a DJ. Okay,
I know, a different kind of DJ. I mean,
for the record, pun intended.
Similar.
Well, the tempo. What's your fantasy is so slow tempo wise that like to play it is such a stop from where I would be. It would be like to all of a sudden have to go to yeah. It's just such a different. It's just a. But if you're in the Forgot About Dre area, you can do it. Now, Forgot About Dre is one of the weirdest tempoed records of all time because you can blend Forgot About Dre with stuff that's double time. It's such a weird tempo that because think about it. When you think of the beat to Dre, what do you think? You think dun. You think of the strings. You don't think of the beat, right?
Yeah.
It's. Anyways, here we are, guys. First and foremost, before we get into the wrestling, I went on Instagram yesterday and revealed the very exciting news, which is that your Cheap Heat shirt for 2025 is officially available. I'm going to show you right now for those who watch us on the YouTube, but I have to give a shout out. Did we stumble into a guy with Jonathan Bartlett or what?
He's a genius.
Yeah.
This Jonathan Bartlett is out of this world.
I think I should hire him for something.
I don't know. By the way, he showed me some stuff, kayfabe, that I'm not allowed to share that he's doing this year for WWE. He's doing incredible stuff. This guy is doing.
His posters are incredible.
His poster is incredible. And by the way, this was his idea. I mean, I said I wanted to do something Rocky related. Wait, was this hold on? Did this come from him or Ted initially?
The JYD idea?
No, yeah, I think the JYD idea was a Jonathan idea because I think I have the emails. Let me look. I had we have a chat called Egg Everything that goes back endlessly. I hit him up and I said, we lost our Rocky boy last week. I'm trying to think of a Mania shirt that could have a street bootleg in loving memory with pics of Rocky, or maybe flip to another dog-related shirt, British Bulldogs Road Dog.
He came back with the Junkyard Dog.
He came back with he said, what about this play on the you guys remember the classic blue Junkyard Dog shirt? So the tribute to JYD here is not only do we have the style of the writing, but we flipped it. It's a black shirt, but that blue font on the front was the color of the JYD shirt. And then, of course, the back we did in the style of a, classic in memory of street bootleg, which he just, I mean, Dip, do you have any words for this?
It's absolutely crazy. It's beyond.
It's an amazing shirt. Dip, do you remember the picture of you and Rocky from there?
Yeah, of course.
It's your first meeting.
That was in the Hamptons.
That's in the Hamptons. That is your first meeting of Rocky. He did an amazing job. And the picture that we put on the bottom, that screenshot, which Jonathan so sweetly emailed me yesterday. He said the picture of Rocky on the bottom got me, man. Because if you guys can't see it, you'll see it when you go look for it. It's just the cutest. He looks so happy. His ears are up and he's jumping. It was him running down our hallway. It's actually a screenshot from a video, but it looks amazing. Shout out to Matt Reed, who's going to print the shirts for us. So they're print to order, and the link is in the bio on the Cheap Heat Instagram page. SGG and I both posted it. You can go find it. We're taking orders for the shirts through WrestleMania, and of course, if you spent most of the year with us as an Egg Everything, I will make sure you get your shirt, and I'll get it out to you myself. That's on us, of course, for your support of the Egg Everything. So. But guys, I'm trying to get copies of this for us to have in Vegas. We need to wear this in Vegas.
Yeah,
I'll wear it.
And it's such a strong shirt. I feel like at any point the back of the shirt could be the front of the shirt.
So it's funny you say that. So Laura Stiles said that. She was like, "You sure you don't want to make one where the back of the shirt is just the front of the shirt?" So I actually just emailed him to find out whether that was a possibility, because the thing is, I think it still requires a different thing. He said, as far as printing the back on the front, that is doable. I could simply just tape off the Cheap Heat logo on the red screen. Just let me know sizes and quantities for those shirts in particular. Wow, I wonder if we should give people the option.
Like a poster, something, the back of the shirt, strong.
Nat, what do you think about the back as the front? You like the front as the front, okay. For Cheap Heat. But you also like the idea for just as a separate thing altogether. Yeah. You want both, of course. Baby, I'll get you everything. You get all the Rocky shirts. You're the original, like everything. Anyway, so guys, we love you all. I hope everyone digs this shirt. I think one of the things that makes this podcast so cool and makes me so happy is that, like, respectfully to all the other wrestling podcasts, there's so many good ones out there that I've listened to. They do great job on wrestling. We do a good job on wrestling. We do a good job on wrestling.
We do decent.
But we love that everyone's a part of the whole universe. And so that's what these shirts often represent. And so we love that this shirt is being met with such love.
And not to give away our secret sauce, but I think the fact that we do a good job on wrestling and like a great job on us and who we are as people and like our other interests and other hobbies and updating them on our day-to-day life is why we are the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast. People are forgetting about that recreation. They leaning in too much into the sports. We give you the recreation. So when you roll up on us, you really feel like you meeting one of the homies.
That's exactly. Yeah. By the way, the funniest thing happened last week. So Dip, after last week when I explained who DJ Vlad was to you, I then he said more stuff about Booker T, and I commented. I called him a loser on Twitter, which I then deleted. I thought better of it, but it was too late. I was in his sights, and he put up a tweet just ripping me to shreds. Okay?
Or so he thought, honestly.
So he thought. It was the worst attempt. He was so sure it destroyed me. It did not. But the comment section is hilarious for a variety of reasons. Number one, he's getting just eaten alive in his comments. Like, people are commenting back to him, "You're calling Rosenberg a loser. I'm watching him on First Take right now." As you tweeted this, I'm watching him on TV right now. So the comments are hilarious, but the best one are, someone jumped in and says, "You're forgetting about the fact that he's part of the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast."
I saw this one.
And it led to a serious debate with someone hating on me, saying, "No, I'm looking at the charts. This is not the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast."
I think I even commented on that one. Like, no, you're looking at the wrong chart. We're on the other one.
At the wrong chart. They were being so literal with it. It was hilarious. Anyways, guys, we're here. we're just a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania. I think I want to say what everybody is thinking. Can we please get the involvement of some more comedy bros? Not enough comedy bros this season.
Yeah.
Don't you like what is WrestleMania season if we're only going to have the amount of comedy bros? Don't you think we need more comedy bros?
So fun. I had the same thought last night. I had the exact thought.
We got one on commentary. We got one in the audience.
Oh my God. And and it's so by the way, at the without saying, too much, whatever. Everybody's taste is everybody's taste. I got no problem with anybody. People are all very successful comedians, good for them. But the interesting part to talk about is, and I don't know how Twitter felt about it. My guess is, knowing the kinds of wrestling fans that I see on Twitter, I don't know that I think Schultz, Bert Kreischer, Tony Hinchcliffe is a major hit for the big portion of the online wrestling fans. I don't think so, but that's fine. But this was all, if you guys think about it, this is part of what the Netflix situation is.
Yeah.
Part of what Netflix is it's a great opportunity to get in front of a lot of eyeballs, but they are going to schlock their stuff. They're schlocking up a storm week after week.
I didn't count on the fact that they're trading eyeballs, right? Like Netflix is like, yo, we're going to blast this out to all of our subscribers. We're going to put it on the home screen, yada, yada, yada. But for that 2.5 hours while Raw is on the air, we're also going to be plugging out other stuff.
It makes total sense.
It does. USA did the same thing when they did the characters welcome and they would plug Psych and this show and La Femme Nikita and all those shows.
It's a good point. I was going to say, Nat, I found the thing. Thank you. I found my wire.
You could say whatever you want about Tony Hinchcliffe, okay? Love him or hate him, the man loves wrestling and thinks it's great.
By the way,
that I can confirm, okay?
I will say this. Hinchcliffe won some points with me last night for the fact that he knew what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I love when you use someone who at least is clearly a fan.
He's legit a huge, gigantic, obsessive fan. So God bless,
Yeah, I mean, sure, we all are. Are we all going to get a shot at the commentary desk? I mean, he was there to be funny.
He's got a big show on Netflix. Got a new big show on Netflix.
Yeah, you're saying actually you were not impressed with the funny part of the Hinchcliffe.
No. If you,
by the way,
sure, he's a fan.
Yeah,
but he was on my TV. That means that you got to entertain me, and I just was not entertained.
And he was not entertained. You were not entertained.
I was not entertained.
But I will say this: I did forget about when I planned this little spiel to talk shit about all the bro comedians. I did forget about the fact that in the earlier USA days, they were doing integrations with the most repug shows. Randy Orton appearing on this one, and Kelly's walking it on.
You remember the new generation with Rhonda Shear and Up All Night and all of them popping up on Raw and all of that?
Yeah, they did their share of it. I did forget about that. But yeah, it is it's a lot. It has absolutely been a lot. There is not a gimmick I hate on this planet more. And by the way, he seems like a lovely man and very successful and funny. And my co-host Seif is very close with him. There's not a gimmick I hate more than that Kreischer performs with his shirt off. There are a lot of gimmicks I hate where people have to wear things so you know who they are. The doing stand-up comedy shirtless to me is such a weird. At the end of your career, if God forbid you drop dead, you fall out of an airplane or whatever, the emergency exit swings open and you go crashing to your death. When they show the footage of you, the in memoriam, you're just standing shirtless on stage every time. It's the weirdest. I honestly, Dip, as a Jewish man who's in general poor physical shape, there's not a bigger nightmare to me. Then my entire career has to be performing.
I've only seen you shirtless a handful of times.
And I've stayed with you many times.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen it.
You never seen me shirtless?
I don't think I've seen it. Oh, yes, I have.
What do you think? Oh, in Mexico.
At the wedding.
No?
Yeah, I have.
No, I was shirtless at the wedding, like Bert Kreischer. I gave a speech. I gave a toast to Greg and Crystal, and I took my shirt off before I did it.
Exactly.
So here we are, guys. No John Cena or Cody Rhodes on the program this week. But the good news is, out of SmackDown and Raw, it appears we have a real storyline with this triple threat. There is something going on.
That was an amazing segment last night. I'm just going to say it.
You loved. What do you like better, last night or Friday night?
Last night. They were both really good. They're building to something very special, in my opinion, at this point. At this point, it feels like you have no idea what's going to happen with Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's the whole idea here. Paul Heyman, man, he finds himself to be in the middle of something great every year at WrestleMania. He is for the last whatever amount of years, he is the key factor to the sort of instability of the main event and the storyline surrounding it. And that just shows how much of a genius this man is.
It's a crazy level of influence and importance that dude has. I mean,
now, I'm not saying everything he does is perfect, and we all certainly know that it is not. But at the end of the day, he is intriguing enough as a character to always keep you guessing about whose side he's on, what he has up his sleeve, and how the main event at WrestleMania is going to end because of him. And that's really special. That's very rare.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially around this time of year, like he hits like this rare air where the storytelling, you have no idea how it's going to play out. You have no idea how he is going to shift the balance of things. And he does it without having to lace up the boots and have a match at all.
Not even Bobby Heenan, God rest his soul, achieved this level of like importance as far as storylines. He was important, and he was an amazing addition to whatever was going on. But Paul is just, he's it.
Yeah.
Listen, Bobby Heenan may be my top choice for overall like talent. Like, I don't know if there's his particular style of talent, Bobby's, is like my favorite thing ever. But there's no question. This guy is in terms of what he's done, he is now in a stratosphere that is so beyond what any other person of this role has ever done. And in fact, I don't think it's possible that there will ever be someone as big as Paul Heyman, as important and as effective as Paul Heyman in the role he's in. Never again. It will never happen again, because you will never get someone who's this much a part of the business. He's one of the most important minds in the business. He's been around for everything. I recently had an awesome moment with him where we got to like really kick it. A few recently, but one where when he starts telling stories, dude, I got to tell you guys, just being honest, he goes so far back in his career with what he was doing. I'm like, I didn't even remember you were there. I didn't know you knew those people. He goes back that far. Like when he starts talking about territory days and him being with these people on the road and these people were tagging, and you're like, it goes so beyond the fact that he was a kid showing up with his camera at MSG and meeting the Wild Samoans. It's then the path that he went on is just crazy. Let's take a little look at the end of last night.
CM Punk. What's that thing he likes to say?
I can't hear it. Hold on. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
He's not here to make friends.
You can hear it. But
he's here to make money.
What about now? Hold on.
So my question then, Paul, is how much are you worth? Are you worth...
Is there specific significance to throwing the...
No.
handkerchief? Okay, just check.
This was good stuff, though.
That much?
This was so good.
People are going to say that the handkerchief represents the bloodline because it doesn't match anything else he's wearing. But I don't think that. I mean, that's what we do with this bloodline story. That we reach.
At least you admit
that
it.
Much?
Huh? Oh.
Come on, Paul. How much are you worth?
Pushing Paul around.
Don't put your damn hands on me again!
I like seeing Paul stand up for himself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, Seth heard it up.
God.
How good is this segment? It's good.
Yeah.
Now we're having a conversation.
And it's not Roman that saves him. because, like I've been saying all year, Roman's not a good guy. He just was.
He's
against
a terrible
other
guy.
He was just against other bad guys.
Although that doesn't mean that I agree with you, SGG, but that doesn't mean Roman wouldn't have saved him.
I mean, he let Punk beat him to the punch. And
not the prime bottle.
Yes, the prime bottle. Knock it over again. You know, like Rollins pointed out too, Roman stayed away for months and watched Paul's situation grow more dire until he goes through a table.
I got to tell you, man, it's kind of like these guys sensed the scene, how big the Cena buzz was, and are like, yeah, no, we're taking WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because I want to have an interesting debate about that after this moment.
I want to jump back to the Heenan Heyman stuff before we do that.
Okay, cool.
Rollins was looking. It looked like he might have been looking for Rollins' stomp, and now Rollins with a stomp of his own.
This was like
Punk by Rollins.
This was good.
Yeah.
So now Rollins gets stomped by. I mean, Punk gets stomped by Rollins.
Whoever came up with this knows what they're doing. Loves wrestling and thinks it's great.
Yeah.
The crowd went, oh.
I know. They really did.
Yeah.
Now, you owe me a favor.
The crowd is so into this, dude.
Yeah.
I got to tell you.
Oh, it's so
gone
made.
from bad to worse
I got to tell you.
for Paul Heyman.
The only thing that could have made that moment better, in my opinion, is if Tony Hinchcliffe had been involved at the end. I think that would have really sent it to the next level. That's made stuff, man. So, SGG, first make your point about Heenan and Heyman. And
What I was gonna say is, I feel like, you know, I had this thought just now while you guys were discussing it. They remind me, Heenan and Heyman, of, you know, those theater masks, how like on one side it's like the comedy and the other side it's drama.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Heenan and Heyman when you talk about the great managers of all time, because when you see them on screen, you know they're evil, you know they represent the bad guys, but it's almost like Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, the way they portrayed the Joker. One was like super campy, but still very evil and dastardly, and you know that he's like the big bad, and that would be Heenan. And then the other one was like very serious. The danger felt more real, more imminent, and that would be Heyman. And I feel like, yeah, you know, I flip-flop on who was number one, and I guess it just depends on my mood that day. If like the comedy, like the comedic piece of it is striking me, I'll go Heenan. Nostalgia, more campy, more bright. But then like something grounded in reality, I'll go Heyman.
Yeah, they both do things brilliantly. I like the it's funny that you had that comparison, because we were having a Batman conversation the other day on Don Hahn and Rosenberg here in New York about when Val Kilmer died, and it led to a conversation about Jokers. And now to have a conversation about best Jokers, and I'm talking about of our era, not the original one, who I know was a big deal also.
Was it Cesar Romero?
Cesar Romero's Joker, but I don't really know that Joker. But even if you, but include that if you want, that portrayal versus Jack versus Heath versus Joaquin they're all different and all iconic in different ways. But the Jack Nicholson one still doesn't. It's way more modern than Cesar Romero, but doesn't remotely resemble where it landed on Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
Or Joaquin Wilde, for that matter, while we're at it. Correct. By the way, both Mage Joaquins in their own right. So let me ask you the question, Dip. I'll start with you. What is feeling more Mage right now, main event-wise? The triple threat or Cena and Cody?
You know how I feel. I mean,
you're all triple threat.
Yeah.
Because they're telling a story.
Because they're telling a story. This is all I'm asking for when I watch wrestling, is some uncertainty, and I don't know what's going to happen. Whose side is Paul on? All of them have good points to make about why they should be on. They all have different loyalties to him. Seth now being the latest one. So,
and I love that, because the one thing I said about Seth on Saturday when I watched Raw, SmackDown from Friday, was I thought, oh man, is Seth getting kind of third wheel treatment here? And now here we go.
right.
Boom.
Right. And they've solved that issue in 2 seconds. Now, the other match, of course it's interesting because Cena turned heel, but ultimately that's the only thing that is interesting about it as of now. Now, could it get more interesting? Are they going to have The Rock on the Go Home show? Maybe. Are they going to add some other factor into it? I don't know. But maybe the next time we see The Rock is at WrestleMania, and I guess that's fine too. But they're really there's not much to chew on there. Unfortunately, I wish there were more, but at the end of the day, I would say both matches feel huge they do. Ultimately, this is a big WrestleMania in my opinion, at the end of the day. And I'm excited for both.
SGG, I know. Please try to take your Roman obsession out of it, please.
Well, no, I mean, I'm with Dip fully. I think the triple threat is the more interesting main event, just because the story and the way it's played out has been made from the start, right? When CM Punk first shows up, yes, he ends up in that program with Drew, and Drew storms out, but it's Seth that we see who's irate that he's here. And this is why Roman is still missing. He's on a hiatus, or whatever you want to call it, but Seth is irate. Fast forward to him and Seth, now they can't stand each other. They actually get their hands on each other at the Netflix premiere, and we are off to the races on a story. Like, Punk eliminates Seth and Roman from the Royal Rumble. And you said Seth was getting the third wheel treatment, but honestly, in my view of the story, Seth has been the driving factor, right? Because all this other, like, he had a match with Punk, he lost, whatever. But Seth refusing to let that go, and Seth being an agent of chaos, is really what has hyped up this story to where it is, even beyond, what is the favor that Punk owed, which he revealed on Friday. But until we got to that point, it was Seth who stomped both of them after the Royal Rumble and caused this whole spiral, caused Roman to come back and interrupt his match. And Seth has been the one prodding. Even when Punk revealed his favor and Paul Heyman's conflicted about what to do, without saying anything at all, if you watch Seth, like, he's instigating it in the very schoolyard style of like, oh, you're going to let him say that? Like, he's laughing, he's making faces. And then when Paul Heyman finally does decide to make the choice to support Punk, which is the one thing that has been throwing Seth over the edge time and time again, now he's like, okay, I can't just stand back and let it play out. Like, I have to have a hand in this and show people that, like, I actually am the controller. I'm the architect. I'm the mastermind. Because even back in the Shield days, when everybody looked and said Ambrose is the leader, Roman's the leader, Rollins was the one who emerged and said, I put this together and I'm going to break it up. And we're here again where Rollins was overlooked, but he has a heavy hand in what we're seeing right now.
But in reality, I mean, someone choosing to not stomp your head, does that really make me feel like I owe you a favor? Or does it make me just stand that much closer to CM Punk and Roman Reigns?
It could have killed him.
It could have killed him. But
true.
Listen, does he actually owe him a favor? No, that's not how favors work, right?
Not usually, no. I didn't kill you isn't like a,
But if Seth is able to, put Heyman in a position where Punk is not there to save him, which he was on Monday, and Roman is not around to save him, which he hasn't been, then Seth may be able to cash in that favor whether Heyman is a willing participant or not.
Rhea Ripley is added to the women's match, guys. Can you believe it? Who would have ever guessed that this was going to be a triple threat match?
I did not see that coming at all.
I did not either, but here we are. We get the Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship is made. And now we have to talk about the other biggest thing, which is somehow, however we got there, Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton is now must-see TV. I think we all probably have similar but differing, I'm sure, views of what happened on Friday. If somehow you didn't watch SmackDown on Friday, essentially there was a very awkward interaction between Charlotte and Tiffany, kind of from beginning to end, starting it with Wade Barrett in the ring, like he's moderating a debate. Not that they've never done that, but it was already sort of a weird start for a promo segment. And he was just sort of standing there, keeping them apart from each other as it went on. At some point, two things happened and both are worth analyzing. One, the crowd decided that they did not like Charlotte and basically made her a heel in that segment, regardless of what her character is.
She's a heel, but they made her like Dominic level.
Yeah, but like, was she from the beginning? Has she been an outright heel in this?
Nah,
because Tiffy wasn't an outright babyface. So
no.
I mean, Tiffy was on her way to babyface the way people were cheering her, but like, she's not really a babyface. Like, the Tiffany Stratton character is like kind of annoying and obnoxious intentionally.
But she's a baby. To me, she's a babyface. I always never thought of her as a tweener or anything like that. To me,
really,
she was a tweener for sure. But like, look at how she got. Look at how she got she turned on Nia Jax, which a heel turning on a heel does sort of make you babyface. But the way she did it by like using Bianca and then attacking Bianca, who at that point was for sure still a babyface, and then cashing in, and then continuing to like feud with the other good guys. I mean.
Yeah, she and then obviously just her whole style is kind of leans heelish, but at some point things got very personal, and according to reports, and if you can just read body language and faces, there are only two options. Either they went rogue, or Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton are the two greatest in-ring talkers and actors we have ever seen in professional wrestling. And I don't think it was that. Obviously Tiffy is still, pretty inexperienced in this spot. So I'm pretty sure the faces and emotions we were seeing were pretty real. This is what we all live for. If anyone wants to know why we watch wrestling, yes, part of it is what we just talked about with the triple threat. The other half is what happened with Charlotte and Tiffy. I mean, let's just be honest. That is part of why we're here. Where does the line get drawn? We can all speculate on who went into business for themselves. I don't know that any of us know the answer on who really did it first.
I feel like Charlotte, right? I feel like
so where do you think was the line that started to take it there? That's the question.
So these are two people. I'm not going to speculate on the backstage politics of it all. Obviously, we don't know anything, but the truth is, these are, unless there's something we don't know, these are two people with no actual problem with each other.
Right, that there shouldn't be.
Right, of course. There shouldn't be. Of course not. So it's like, God, I mean, this really develops into something. Wrestling, it's all real to me, damn it.
It really, well, yes. And for some people, it's very real.
So I'll take it back to the split screen, right? When they had that interview, Charlotte in these promos has a tendency of, talking over people, interrupting them, not letting them get their ish in on the mic. Like, they'll say something and she'll immediately go into her next thing to like undercut them. And that happened in the split screen. So I feel like after that promo.
But wasn't the split screen a pre-tape?
Yeah, but still, I mean, how many takes did they do? Right? I don't know.
Probably, how. Right. There is a very often, especially if they're a big star, it's like when it's done, it's done. So
yeah. So
if Charlotte's like I'm done. She's probably done.
I feel like that energy carried over into the promo, and Charlotte knew she got her on that pre-tape. So when the promo starts, and you ask where did this energy begin, I think it started right there because Tiffany came out. She probably was like, "It's not going to happen to me again. Definitely not in front of the crowd. Definitely not in front of." Was it her hometown crowd? Oh no, it was in Chicago. Definitely not in front of the crowd. And then Charlotte, the first thing out of Charlotte's mouth is after the crowd cheers for her, she goes, "You see that, Tiffany? That's power." And that flex caused the whole downward spiral because Tiffany retorted with the Tiffy time, and then the crowd felt like they had to choose a side, and boy did they.
It was an unfortunate congratulations you played yourself moment because Charlotte did not have to do see that? That's power. And
Yes.
you're right. At that point, it went. And when it went, and you could tell Tiffy had done research, came with receipts.
The Daddy's Basement. Where did she get that from?
I don't know. That's the Daddy's Basement thing. An interview. Really, she paid attention.
Yeah. She said you was crying on Sherry Shepherd.
Well, that was literally that day.
Yeah. No, but she had to be really paying attention. She had the fresh intel hot off the presses. Like, oh, you was crying today? We go talk about it tonight.
And by the way, I wonder, Charlotte might have said the thing about the Daddy's Basement on Sherry Shepherd that day. It might have all been from that.
Yeah.
Because those interviews are long in depth, right? I haven't watched the Sherry Shepherd. I'm actually curious to kind of go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you guys, I love wrestling fans sometimes, and sometimes you guys are just such dickheads. I mean, when things started to get bad for Charlotte in that moment, I get it. It's all fun and games. And maybe I'm a softie and I I know her and am fond of her, but like I felt so bad. It got to a point of like, this is not going good. And like, I just think it was like people were being real life Twitter trolls.
Yes.
Like you were.
That's what it was. That's a perfect way to put it.
Because you didn't even get to retort. It was just
and you guys are seeing her like legitimately struggling with this. And here's why I say you're Twitter trolls when you keep going with it. I get some boos for fun, but when they literally wouldn't let her get a word out. If God forbid something ever happened to Charlotte Flair and she disappeared from our lives, the same people that were booing would be putting up tributes online and posting the picture from the time they met her once outside a show and talking about how, say what you want about her, she's one of the greatest in-ring wrestlers we've ever seen. And all of these things would happen.
We saw it when we thought we were never going to see Roman Reigns again. When he announced he had cancer, it was like suddenly roses is thrown at his feet.
Exactly.
And then he comes back from cancer and they booed him again.
Well, exactly. But that's what they were supposed to. But in this case, like, maybe you didn't like how Charlotte carried herself. Maybe she didn't carry herself well. Was it really worthy of like going to the point that she could not talk again?
But like she didn't react. Here's the issue. Like, no is the answer, but she didn't react to it. Like she kind of like half smiled, like her face was like, so she like half smiled and sort of kind of acknowledged the crowd, but didn't. I feel like if she would have grabbed the mic, if she would have taken the mic and been like, "Shut up," or
it was.
If she would have healed off on the crowd, it may have been like better.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. She didn't acknowledge it, so people were like jumping on it to get her to
make it even worse.
Yeah.
It's a really good point, and I feel bad. I don't want to beat her up because I feel like that was already a really tough segment. But I will say you're 100% correct. The only move there was to go, you know what, Tiffy? Shut up. Hold on for a second. I want to talk to these idiots.
You're right. Exactly. Just heal up on the crowd.
You're so smart. You guys are the smartest fans. Why? Because you're a bunch of CM Punk obsessed fat losers. Like it would have been the easiest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then eventually people come around and start cheering her after, the better heel work you do, the more the crowd loves you. We know that. So, we love wrestling. We think it's great.
We think it's great. But no, the fact is she got caught in a bad spot.
Yeah.
And in the end, she punted.
She punted.
She actually punted. She straight up said, "Tiff, I'll let you get the last word." She bailed.
Another mistake, by the way, because what Tiff did with that last word.
Now I will say this in to give Charlotte one bit of love here. In all of that nastiness in the end, Charlotte's retort to Tiffy, silly and childish as it may have seemed, in the moment did seem to score a little late punch. It did in the moment. If you listen, the crowd did go, "Oh!"
Yeah, a little bit.
She landed something on the way out the door. But overall, not a great segment for Charlotte, but at the same time, brings tons. Don't get down on it because it brought tons of attention and interest in your match. And guess what? Guess why you're one of the greatest of all time? Respectfully, it's not because you talk like your dad. It's because you're an even better wrestler than your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Go in the ring and have an insane match and remind people at the end why they have to give you a standing ovation because you're one of the best to ever do it. That's the only way. Response. That is it.
But let me ask you this.
They could do that. That's possible. That's on the table. Of course.
Who wins this championship, right? Because I feel like Charlotte is in a no-win situation, right? Either she loses and she puts Tiffany Stratton over and it's like, damn, you went out like that, Charlotte. You went out like that. Or she takes the title and it's like Charlotte Flair. She pulled a Flair. She struck again.
No, the win here is easy, SGG. This is honestly, this is the easiest of easy. She goes, her and Tiffany have an incredible match. They have it be incredibly dramatic. In the end, Tiffany wins. Charlotte acts like a dick for most of the match, and in the end, walks in, and when they stare down, lifts her arm up. That is it. Easy wrestling 101.
What do you mean? Shakes her hand?
Lifts her arm up to the crowd and gives her all the props at the end. This is when you use that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I don't.
But I'm just listen. By the way, she doesn't have to, but that would be on her or them or whoever makes that decision. But do you guys agree that if they had an absolute banger, in the end, Tiffy wins, and when they stare each other down, it looks like they're gonna fight, and she lifts her arm up and points to her? Do you not think it immediately turns her babyface?
I think you're right, because I said in the group
chat.
I said in the group chat too that like I put most of the blame for how this is going on Charlotte because she's the veteran and she needs to maintain control. So like setting the title aside and the accolades, and she has plenty of them. The veteran thing to do would be take the L.
I'm saying screw the veteran thing. I'm just being selfish. I'm thinking about your reputation. I'm thinking about getting the crowd to cheer you if that's what you want. Right. Unless you just all out want people to hate you and you want to hear, but I don't really think that's what she wants. So like, I'm just saying this is one of those moments where if you did that cool thing, had a great match, and at the end showed her respect and love, I think it's like it'd be a kind of moment where like reality and it would all kind of blend together into a real thing.
I'm here for it.
I think it would. I'm not saying it means the next week she'd be the biggest babyface on TV, but in that moment she'd get a lot of love. That's my personal opinion.
It's easy for her to turn that into being the biggest babyface, because even when she came back from her injury, there was this assumption, I guess, on part of herself or management that people missed her so much that they would cheer her, but they didn't do any vignettes. They didn't do any of this or that. And then she came back and she immediately was the Charlotte Flair that we knew that people didn't like. And so they didn't have that Cody effect of this person's coming back from an injury and people are going to love them. In part because they didn't run any video packages. That we saw her on yachts. We saw her being fly. We saw her being rich. That's not babyface. You go to babyface, so you have to take at least a first step.
I know, but they also didn't commit to the heel thing either.
Yeah, they didn't.
So once you run in the yacht vignettes and stuff, you should come back and just be a terrible heel.
Yeah, but doing what you said at least is a first step towards I'm a babyface, which they haven't taken with her yet. So
by the way, it would be a really big first step. And in fact, you could do a lot with that too. Like if they were willing able to do that, she could come out and at some point back up Tiffy. You know, like there are things you could do to do that. Yeah. But if that's what people want to do. Either way though, again, now we all care. I didn't care particularly about Charlotte and Tiffy. I thought it was whatever.
No, now we care though. There's a lot to care about at this Mania now.
There's at least 4 that I think will have real interest.
Yeah,
I think 5. Because look,
Naomi Jade.
6. Then I'm gonna say
Naomi Jade, 2 main events, the Tiffy one. I care about the women's triple threat.
Yep, I'm gonna say Naomi Jade, Jay Gunther. Yep, all the world titles. I think they have meat on the bone. Especially after this past few weeks of promos, that like Jay Gunther. We saw Jay. He came out. There was no yeeting, no colors. Even the yeet glasses was just blacked out. And he cut a promo that he went back to that Jay that people were asking for, like the right hand man. Like he dropped the catch. He said, "I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna do this for my brother." He was rubbing his temples, like his mind is messing with him, like he used to do in the Bloodline when he was ready to snap. I think at least story-wise, regardless of what this match does, they turned it on and they set the table pretty well for Mania. It was a long, winding road to get there.
Dip, are you interested or are you still out?
No, I'm interested. This last week, the Jimmy beatdown and then this promo last night made me care a lot more than I did a couple of weeks ago about this. I'm yeah. I'm telling you, I'm feeling very good right now going into Mania.
You're feeling very good.
I'm feeling great. And the other thing is, we didn't hit on who's going to fight Randy Orton, and I wonder if they're making alternate plans or whatever, unless it's just Sami Zayn who fills in for his friend, his former friend, his current friend. We never know. So there's that. But I think that who Randy Orton gets is interesting, in my opinion.
I have two guesses.
Go.
Carmelo Hayes or Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis is the one that people have speculated on.
That would be awesome. That would be a huge pop. If
Nick had a match?
If he did an open challenge or whatever and came out and it was Nick Aldis, people would go nuts.
But by the way, if that's the case, though, this is a big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
I know things are late. It's hard. Do it Friday. Don't do it the day before WrestleMania. At least give us a week. Do it Friday. No. I know. Set the match. Have them have a moment on Friday and have it mean something. Like, why not do something?
I'm saying do it at Mania.
Oh, like he just comes out and does an open challenge?
Yeah. Do it at Mania.
I don't think that would. Do you think that would get the pop that you're suggesting? I don't know if it would.
Let me just hear me out. If Randy Orton gets in the ring with Nick Aldis at WrestleMania, and Nick Aldis has an announcement about who is going to wrestle Randy Orton, and then he attacks Randy Orton, and the bell rings, and it's the two of them.
It says it's me.
That's something.
Well, the problem with that though is Nick's attire is going to immediately give it away.
Well, maybe
no.
Maybe he takes off the suit, and under the suit,
he's gonna have a tearaway. He's gonna have a tearaway 3-piece suit.
No. He's got it.
He wears crazy things anyway.
You beat the hell out of him. You take off the top, and you wrestle in the pants. That's it.
Yeah, wrestling.
You're wrestling in the pants. You're taking the shirt off. You're wrestling in the pants.
But he got too many. He got the 3-piece suit. He has the same problem as Cody. He got the tie. He got the vest. He got.
Hold on 1 second.
He got the handkerchief.
That would be good, right? That would be good.
No, that would be a lot.
If they build it, maybe they build it up that it's a mystery. They build it up one more time on next week.
But by the way, even the thing that you just said, even if you didn't do it exactly that way, you could do it at WrestleMania where it's like an interview segment that they're running on screen in the building.
Yes.
And he's like, and that's why tonight your opponent is me.
And then he
and that's it. You're not nothing. And then the crowd oohs and ahs, and then they have their match that night.
Oh, all right. I do and then
him doing an all-out attack might be a lot for what his character has been.
Yeah, that's true.
What they could do is Randy Orton's in the ring. He's issuing an open challenge at Mania, and then Nick Aldis comes on the big screen, and it was like, nah, Randy, there's not going to be an open challenge. After your actions, you don't get to just have somebody. You don't get to take the easy road. I've actually handpicked an opponent, and they're coming to the ring.
He's a decorated indie wrestler. He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that.
And they're coming to the ring right now. And then the screen goes black. We wonder who it is. And then there's a Tron, there's music, Nick Aldis, and then Nick Aldis comes out in gear. Man, he's ready to go.
I'm here for all these.
It could be Carmelo Hayes too, or it could be Sami Zayn, or it could be. There's a lot of people it could be.
Why I say Carmelo Hayes is because KO, the last person he saved was Carmelo Hayes, and Carmelo Hayes has like this cocky aura about him. He could want to step up and avenge his friend KO who saved him from being punted.
He's doing something with the Miz though now.
And then by the way, he could just get punted and RKO'd. Good night, good luck, fly all over the place. By the way, I'm just being realistic in that spot. What if he had a match with a man that Kevin Owens had a match with at WrestleMania that everyone would want to see against Randy Orton?
You saying Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No, that's right.
Oh,
just the Viper and the Rattlesnake?
Can you imagine the Viper and the Rattlesnake? Although that being done with 1 week would be like, why would you do that when that could be such a poster? Like such a big deal. All right, guys, we got to go. We're going to do a watch along Patreon this week. I guess we should choose a proper WrestleMania. Should it be the 13? Should it be Brett Stone Cold as we've discussed?
Yeah. It's for reasons that's going to become clear to our listeners. later. It should definitely be.
It does make sense, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be a Patreon this week, patreon.com/staymage. The t-shirt is available. Link is on the bio of the Cheap Heat Instagram and my Instagram and stuff like that. It's easy enough to find. Actually, I wonder if you just go Google. I'm going to try this real quick. Let's see how fast Google is. Cheap Heat Rocky Forever. Does it come up yet? No, it does not come up yet. So it doesn't
So
work.
don't do that.
Don't do what I did. Hopefully that'll change as it populates over the next. Oh, no. But we have it on our Instagram, so just worry about that. Guys, we appreciate you. Stay mage, guys.
Stay mage.
Take it easy, May.
Yeah, sure.